Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are going to talk today about Retirement Boss Radio. We have very solid usage of Retirement Boss Radio, but I sometimes also think of it as probably the most undertaken advantage opportunity that we have available here at IAMS. So I'm glad that you all took some time to tune in today. We're going to have some great information. Dave Pimper will be joining us. Dave is the developer of Retirement Boss Radio, works together with a production company and a media buyer and producers to produce what has been some really great results in the radio world. Some of that, of course, I think has to do with the current state of affairs. A little bit less ability to do seminars and things like that. So radio's become a much better option for a lot of people. And I think that a lot of people are amazed once they go through the webinar to learn about how easy and relatively inexpensive it is compared to other marketing opportunities, and just get kind of cranked up about Retirement Boss Radio. And so I hope if this is something that you have interest in and something that you think can help you grow your business, that you'll give it very serious consideration, because I think you'll be happy with the results. We've been really pleased with what we're seeing so far. A lot of you're probably averaging 2, 3, 4 appointments per week, depending on your station. And the costs, as Dave will go through, or we'll have him go through at some point, and you're probably looking at spending somewhere between 3 and 5,000 per month on that. So when you start looking at the cost per lead, that alone, and you might say, hey, I'm going to get 10 to 12 leads, so I'm looking at spending, $300 to $500 per lead, and you wonder about that lead expense. They're very qualified leads, number one, which is very good for you, and then at the same time you're building some reputation in your area. So a lot of good reasons to consider radio, which you probably all know, or you wouldn't be on with us today. So thank you for joining us. My name is Steve Murray, president here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I get to join Dave on these webinars on a regular basis to help promote the sales and marketing part of our uh, producers' business, to help them grow their business, which I really enjoy. So I'm going to go through a couple of things. If during the course of the event here today you have a question, go ahead and type it in. We'll get it asked and answered as quickly as we can. There'll be a poll or two that might pop up. I'll have to look and see if we have some polls here. We'll probably have at least one. But if you see a poll pop up, I just good yes or no. I try and keep them just yes or no answers. Would be appreciated as quickly as possible. So for those of you that are unaware, I'm just looking at our group here, and this is a relatively seasoned group. I see a couple of new names that I don't recognize, and you may have been folks that have just joined us recently, or been with us, maybe you haven't even joined us at all yet. Maybe you're not licensed with one of our carriers. If that's the case, you might be interested in our new producer builders. You can see before you, I'm not going to go through them one by one, but you can see there are various levels that you can claim at, and various you can claim cash, you can claim a trip incentive, but most of them are built around helping you, get your next pieces of business in the door. So hopefully you'll take advantage of those. If there's something that you're doing on your own that you would like us to donate to, and kind of that hyper boosted first 180-day basis, please, by all means, mention it to your sales director. If you want to chat with me about it directly, I'm glad to do that with you. We'd love to help you any way that we can to grow your business, and we've got some great ways to do that shown here, but we're certainly open to ideas that you have directly as well. That is available to you during your first 180 days of doing business with us, and basically it's there to reward you for getting off to a fast start with IAMS. I want to make sure too, these are ongoing programs. We send larger checks out in RPM, the referred producer program, than anything else right now, and they go out quarterly. And I think that our business has been built on referrals, probably a lot like you folks. Some of your best customers are probably people that were referred to you by other good customers, and that's the case for us as well. And when you've been in the business like us for 35 or 36 years, you do tend to build up that referral base. So if that's something, if you have interest in, you got a colleague you think might benefit from something we do incentive wise, or something we're doing training wise, or just the carriers that we have or the support that we offer, by all means, let your sales director know. give them a name, and we'll take it from there. If they get appointed and they start doing business, if they get appointed, we'll send you a check for $50. You enjoy a lunch, nice lunch with your significant other or whatever. But if they get to doing business, that's when it really starts adding up to be some fairly big numbers, and that's why those checks that go out, we send them out as mostly quarterly. Some of them go out monthly now. If they get a little bit where they're a little bit larger, if they're going to be more than maybe 3 or 4,000 on a quarterly basis, and we'll start paying it out to you monthly. But otherwise, we send those out to you quarterly. So you can see the little payout that is available to you. And I want to thank you all that are on board with us right now that have given us referrals. We appreciate that, just like you do in your business. It's really kind of the best people that we get to deal with is people that have already heard some good things about us from you. So we appreciate that. Market reimbursement, it's a simple program. When you do business, money goes in your marketing reimbursement account. When you do marketing, you send us receipts. And when you send receipts, we match your spend dollar for dollar. So it kind of doubles your marketing spend. So it's a great way to supercharge your marketing. And this is a great time to do it. As you all know, market fluctuation, gyrations, and kind of steady downward type of movement in the market tends to help our business. A lot of people fly into safety right now, and they need to know that you offer that. And any way you can get that out is in that we can help you with. We're glad to do that. If you're not doing e-apps, and most of you are now, but for those of you that aren't, certainly some opportunity to help you be more efficient in your business. And we have taken that to the next level by putting a sign-on to Firelight that includes all of our carriers on our website. So instead of having to go from website to website when you want to do an e-app, you can just come to the IAMS website, pick out the carrier that you want to do the e-app with, and it's basically just like what you'd see on their website, except it's on ours. Other advantages of that to you is that, if there is a reason that you maybe need to do a second app on that same client with another carrier, you can just do a cut and paste of the information across, and it's not all going to line up perfectly, of course, but a lot of it is save you a lot of time and effort there. And then you just complete it based on the new app and get new signatures, and you're off to the races. That's also a good reason in general to do business on e-apps. As you all know, there's so many times now between suitability and the PCWs and all the information required. I don't know who has a more difficult application process for anything right now than what we see on fixed indexed annuities, or a more lengthy process. And so if something happens and something's not right, we need to get it redone. It's sure a lot easier to do it with your client via email and an e-signature than having to go back out and do that again and again. So that's a good reason itself to do e-apps. And here's the final good reason, and the one that I think well, probably two more, I guess. From your standpoint, at least you've got all the right paperwork, which can be very difficult now because companies change their paperwork so much. If you had some paperwork that we sent you a month ago, there's a good chance, unfortunately, that that's outdated. That never happens when you're working in the e-app platform. Also, we've included that 8424 form in there, so you have that at your fingertips as well. And then I think the final good reason for you folks out there, one that many of you have felt that difference, is when you do an e-app, companies basically, those are first in line, and those go through. E-apps generally get processed by the new business, get it into the system because they go in automatically and get off to suitability same day, where paper app right now, that might be a 3 or 4 day process. So keep that in mind. If we can help you with your e-apps, please, by all means, let me know. I'll get somebody on the line with you. If you haven't done it before and you want to learn how to do it, we've got a nice video with Amber that kind of walks you through that. Like I said, the sign-on process takes literally about 3 minutes on our website. I want to make sure too that you're all aware that we have a great advertising team here. These folks work with producers like you all day long, so they know what works and what doesn't work. They love your input and ideas, and get you set up with a website or Facebook, and you guys work together on that. And they're all about using what they know to increase your business, because obviously when you guys and gals are doing better in your business, then we're doing better in our business. So we do what we can on a pro bono. We'll do everything else we can at cost, and if there's something that does have some cost, we can use marketing reimbursement. We'd love to do that as well. most of the folks that I've talked to that have spent some time with them and given them some thoughts and are just amazed by, I call it magic. It feels like it's magic what they can do and how easily they can do it and how professional and solid it looks from our standpoint. I think is a great thing. And so if you haven't taken advantage of that, ask your sales director. Let them know what you have in mind and see if we can't put some things in place for you. We'd love to help you on your advertising. Retirement Analyzer. So we've been offering this for, I want to say about 15 or 16 years now at our expense for our producers, and we continue to do that. But it really has only been in the last 4 or 5 years that we've seen, kind of geometric growth in use of that by some of our larger producers and some of our regular producers. And so if you haven't looked at the Retirement Analyzer, or if you don't already use a product like that with your clients, I think you'll be amazed by the difference it can make when you sit down with a client, go through some things, then come back to them with a nice report that shows them kind of, well, you can see the questions on the slide there that you can answer for them, so I don't need to go over those, but to be able to do that in a nice format that looks good and gives them a real feel that you're doing like a more holistic and global financial plan for them, which includes like Social Security claiming opportunities and risk analysis, and includes all of their investments and everything that they're doing, their savings and insurance and long-term care, and puts that all in a nice little report for them. It really is going to give you less of a one-off sale type of opportunity, more of a client advisor relationship, which is what I know we all want in the long run. And I would suggest that you maybe give Marcus a call and maybe run through a couple with him, do an A client or do one on yourself, or a client you've got good information and file on, so you can just see what it looks like. And I think you'll be pleased and see the opportunity to grow your business with your client. I want to make sure too that you're all aware of the Top Producer Summit. There's still plenty of time to qualify, less than when we started. Of course, we were on an 18-month qualification. We've got about 4.5 months left, but still time to qualify for many of you out there that have already been doing business with us, and certainly a larger producer. And why would I want to do that? Well, if you look at the ports and what we're going to do for our producers on this trip, I think you'll want to be a part of it. So we're going to start off in Rome, and we're going to end up in Venice, which seems like a funky cruise. But what happens is we roll down the coastline of Italy, then roll back up through the coast of Italy, and on one side, and you've got Greece and Montenegro and Croatia on the other side. Then we end up in Venice. So it'll be a beautiful cruise for you and your guest. We'll have you on the concierge level. The good thing about that is you've got 24/7 access to everything that you could possibly want to eat and drink. They'll take care of all of your shoe shines and clothes pressing and everything you can think of. And then another nice benefit, if you've ever been on a cruise, to that is that you also get an early on and early off, so you're not standing in the longest of lines. And that boat is already relatively small. It's not the big multi cruiser. Everybody's going to have a balcony that's part of our group. Which will be nice as you're, if you can imagine waking up in the morning with a nice gentle breeze blowing across you and sitting out on your veranda and having breakfast, watching Greece go by. That'll be the trip of a lifetime. We'd love to have you join us. So if we can help you with that, please let us know. We'd love to run out of cabins on that. We'd love to have more people qualify than what we've got cabins for, because we'll get more, believe me. Life and Annuity Academies, we've been our ability to do those over the last year or two has been stilted at best, pretty much non-existent in 2020, 2021. We were able to get in one. We're looking to go pretty much full bore at those here in 2022. So we got 3 or 4 opportunities for Life and Annuity Academy. So if you have interest in coming in and learning a little bit more about how to get your business jazzed up from a sales and marketing standpoint, I think that the sales and Life and Annuities should be called Life and Annuity Sales and Marketing Academy. We talk about product. I mean, you have to. But mostly what we do is we put you in front of top producers and people with sales in their DNA, and learn more about how you can get in front of more people, and how once you're in front of those people, how you can grow that business, and find not only, hey, how do I get that first piece of business, but how do I build a lifetime relationship with this client. So you all know that that's the key to success in this business is, hey, I've got to get in front of clients. I've got to see more people. And that's what we talk about 75% of the time at the Life and Annuity Sales Academy. We'll talk about some compliance stuff and regulatory stuff that can save you time and money in the business. We'll talk about some other ways administratively that we can assist you to be more efficient, and give you either more time to see more clients or more time to see more golf balls, whatever you want to do. And then the rest of that is a little bit, you'll have some little bit of product. We'll talk about what we can do to help you. And then the rest of it is, hey, you're going to hear from top producers. How do I do what I do? What works and what's not working for me. We'll do a producer panel. So we'll also throw some folks in front of you on a more informal basis that you can just throw some questions at. We'll have, even when we have carrier presentations and when we do our product presentations, they're really more sales based than technically based. This is not, if we expect the folks that come to our Life and Annuity Academy are either well versed in the products already or have been versed enough in products that they can catch on and understand the basics of them already. This is not a one-on-one academy. This is a level 2, level 3 way to help you grow your business. So we'd love to have you join us. I threw up a poll. If you want a registration, you can call the number 800-255-5055. Ask for anybody in the sales team. The next one coming up here is in April, mid-April. And so that one will fill up. I mean, they all fill up quick, but that one will fill up here shortly. So if you have interest in coming into that one, we take care of your expenses. We're going to take care of your hotel. We're going to take care of your meals while you're there. That's not to minimize your contribution, which is the time. You're going to be out of your office from a Wednesday, and you won't get back to your office until Friday. So we'll go Wednesday evening. We'll have you in, we'll go through, we'll meet each other, we'll have cocktails, and we'll even right then, we'll start digging into some of the opportunities that are available to you. We'll go all day Thursday, and then half of that day Friday, and get you back to the airport and get you back on the road, if you're driving and flying. And we're going to take care of those expenses, but you're going to have that time commitment, but it'll be worth it. Honestly, we've been doing these for 16, 17 years. The only complaint that I've ever heard, and I hear it probably at least from 3 or 4 people per academy, is, we need more time. You should have been 4 days long or 5 days long, because that's way too much information. And that's an organization issue that we help you with. We'll give you a nice a brieffolio that basically you can go through and make notes and highlight things and say, okay, these are things I need to touch back base with these folks on, because we know you're not going to pick it up all at once. But you also know, hey, I'll get back from this thing and I'll have 2 or 3 really solid opportunities that I can grow my business, if that's what I want to do, and grow my business in 2022 and beyond. So that's what those academies are about. I did throw up a poll. I see that many of you have already seen that, and some of you have not voted yet. If you would just quickly, I see we do have one person on that's just on via phone and unable to vote. Tom, if you want to get a registration to the academy, certainly just give us a call here at the office, 800-255-5055. After the webinar here today, and we'll get that done for you. A couple of you that haven't voted, I'm going to assume those are no's, and I'm going to get moved on here because we've got a great show to talk with Dave Pimper about Retirement Boss Radio. So let me get that closed out. Those of you that were quick to vote, thank you for that. So I didn't do a very good introduction of Dave at the beginning, and I didn't do him service. So Dave is a producer himself, and many of you know this because I see some of the names aboard, and you may have had contact with Dave about Social Security seminars already, or practice management, or seminars we've done, 8 retirement mistakes, things like that. So what we're going to talk about today is Retirement Boss Radio. Dave has been in the business for 40 plus years now. He's had some radio experience across about 30 plus years of that. He's done 550, 560 plus seminars now in front of live audience as well. And every day day in and day out. He's having appointments, talking to clients about doing business because he does a lot of marketing. And when you do a lot of marketing and you do that investment, then you get obviously the next step, which is to have a lot of sales opportunities. So the good thing about that for you all is, number one, we can talk about some ways to build up the people that you're seeing, and Dave can also help you with the sales part of it as well, and he's definitely willing and able to do that, as you can imagine, with all the experience he has under his belt. So Dave is going to join us here in a second and talk.
I am here.
There he is. Gosh darn it, I must have talked too long again. Sorry about that. So
No.
So without any further blathering from me, let's hear from Dave Pimper about Retirement Boss Radio.
Hey, thank you, Steve. I appreciate it, and thank you for everybody being with me on a Friday. I don't know about in your neck of the woods, but it was 0 degrees with the wind chill. I think the wind chill wasn't bad today. It was about 10 below. A couple of days ago it was 22 below wind chill. So, you know what?
That sounds bad to a lot of people, Dave.
Why you want to live in Nebraska in the winter? I'm just not sure about that. But yeah, my name is Dave Pimper. I'm a producer, just like you are. Been doing it since July the 9th of 1981. So, you know, I've been doing it for a long, long time in my 41st year. And I like what I do. I love what I do, or I wouldn't be doing it. And ways you market your practice is of key importance. The main reason why we didn't have a much better year, but we had a better year in 2020 during the pandemic and the height of it than we did in 2019. It was only a couple $1,000 better than the year before, but why it was because of radio. I'll tell you, radio's hot. AM radio, AM conservative radio, and even if you're a liberal, I will tell you that, you know, that money is green whether you're a liberal or you're a conservative. And I will tell you right now, tons of good prospects are listening to conservative AM radio. And so we try to get the first, second, or third largest AM radio station within the budget in your marketplace. A lot of people think that radio is so expensive. We're going to show you how it is in a lot of people's budget, no more expensive than what a dinner workshop is, okay, a dinner seminar is. If you got questions, this is not a long at all. This is only going to be about 15 minutes. This is not a long webinar, but listen up, because I think it'll be very interesting to you if you're not in front of enough prospects right now. Why radio? Radio reaches more Americans each week than any other platform. That's wild, isn't it? More than your cell phone, more than social media. Yeah. The median age is 61. I work the pre-retired or just retired crowd. And I'll tell you, that's where the money's at. The money's in that rollover business. I'm going into an appointment this afternoon, came in from radio. Steve is from a town in Iowa about 75 miles away. They're farmers. And yeah, it's in a large brokerage account right now. And they want to be much more conservative with their money, which fits perfectly for my wheelhouse. And you know, it's about 485,000, and so it may have gone down a little bit here in the last couple of weeks, but still a good sum that came from radio. Radio reaches more upscale listeners. 93% of all listeners have a household income of 75,000 or more. There's no doubt. I have people come in and say, "So that's you on the radio, huh?" Yeah, it is. No one ever comes to me in seminars and says, "Hey, that was you giving that seminar, huh?" There's a much more of an expertise kind of level that's perceived from radio than there is from seminars. Am I against seminars? Not a bit. I just had a Social Security seminar 2 nights ago, and I had a Social Security, the second part of it, had one on Wednesday and one on Thursday. Yeah, got 14 appointments, 14 set appointments from seminar. But I will say this, I hope to get at least 2 to 3 appointments per week from radio. And I was telling Steve, this isn't the way it always is, but in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten 10 appointments from radio. So, I mean, in the last 2 weeks, I got 24 set appointments. And radio is a big reason why. And I did a seminar too, which is great. I do a seminar every month. But keeping in front of appointments, it's the name of the game. I'll tell you, just news, talk, radio, it's hot. It's a hot, hot marketplace. So, so what kind of stations am I trying to get on? Well, Rush Limbaugh has now passed away, but it's the Rush Limbaugh audience, that Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Kim Commando, Dave Ramsey. I mean, boy, there's just a lot of money that listens to those stations. I don't work with a younger crowd. If it's a millennial crowd, they're not listening to. They're not. They're listening to podcasts or on social media, but a lot of the older money does listen. No doubt that radio seems to bring in a higher amount of net worth than what seminars do. I'm not against seminars one bit. It's just as more money is generated from radio. Just gives you more of that kind of branding and status feeling when you're doing that. So let me just go through the kind of the four parts of radio. And this is a turnkey system. When I mean turnkey, we make you sound good on the radio. It's a recorded show. It's for 1 hour. You actually are only recording for a half an hour because we repeat the second half hour. Very few people listen to an hour of talk radio. They listen to it between church and the restaurant, church going home, from work going back to home. That's when they're listening. It's usually on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday. My show is on at 12 o'clock on Sunday. I really wanted Saturday, which is a better day. I couldn't get it, but I had a chance to go Saturday, and I didn't move because Sunday has been so good for me. So here's what happens first. You got the most expensive part of radio, being your own radio host, it's finding the radio time and station. So we have an outside media buyer, and he's extremely good. Been in the business for almost 25 years now. They've got an office down south and an office up in the Midwest North, and they are good at what they do. I will tell you. He knows only 750 radio and television programs he's on per week that he has purchased the media time, radio or television for. And he does more radio than he does television, but he also does some television. So we get him out there. And say you're in I'm just making this up, but say that you are in El Paso, Texas. I'll tell you right now, he knows the stations, the top stations in El Paso off the top of his head. He probably knows who the managers are or who the key person there on the top 1, 2, or 3 stations. So that radio time is key, and it's like real estate. First of all, it has to be open. We in most cities, we're looking for 100,000 people or more. If you get under 100,000, it's hard to get enough people listening to get enough appointments. 100,000 or more. But what happens is that you have to find the right radio station, one that people listen to, the right time slot, and the right pricing. That's the triple play. If one of those is not on target, we don't think it's worthwhile to go in. Also, it has to be an open area where we don't have already another advisor. Okay? So that's the first thing. That's done for you. He comes back. Then there's the production time, the second part of the 4 legs. We have a production company that has a co-host. We use the same co-host on Retirement Boss Radio, Take Charge of Your Money, which is a trademarked slogan, okay, from the very get-go. They come in and they're your color guy. And Steve, the co-host, does an extremely good job of keeping it moving, making you look good, making you sound good. But the production company, we have show notes. I redo the show notes every week to make sure that they're on track of what we're trying to do. We're not talking about a specific product. Is it helpful to be securities licensed with a 67 or 65? Could be. We certainly have had people in the industry that have been very successful just with, the insurance license showing, insurance products or fixed indexed annuities or fixed annuities. We've had good success there. So that's up to you and how from your license and where you kind of want to go for your wheelhouse within the radio show. But we do have show notes, and they're all open subjects, so we don't talk about any specific financial strategies. They put it together. They get it in an hour long. They put all of your ads in. Plus, every week there's 10 to 15 to 20-second ads promoting your show. Retirement Boss Radio with Dave Pimper. Listen on Sunday, KFAB at 12 o'clock. Yeah. Okay? So you've got just those ads alone would cost you, I mean, probably $1,000 a month, maybe even more than that, but that's part of the deal. And then we have, even though it's recorded, so you can do it from your office, from your home, even from your car if you got Wi-Fi, we supply the software that hooks you up with the co-host. You've got to buy about $225 worth of equipment. We get it from Amazon, a mic, headphones, a little sound box. Not much money for that investment. And then you can record where you want to as long as you've got a good connection to your computer. Because it's recorded, when people call in our 800 number, all of them end in 2677. Like my phone number is 888-975-2677. 888-975-BOSS, BOSS for Retirement Boss Radio. All of our phone numbers, as long as we can get them, they end in 2677 and they're toll free. So people call in, they get an inbound high-touch call center. They're getting an operator. They're using our script. I spy on them every other week. I call, and I want to hear what they say and how they say, and they're very good. It took me a while to find a good call center. Can you take your own calls? You can, but every Saturday, every Sunday, you'll be tied up at the phone. This works great. Then we call we do it through an electronic calendar. Well, they have a calendar, we have a calendar. Yeah. And it's all put together. And it's just really cool. It's just really seamless. It's an hour show, very professionally. In fact, if you go on www.retirementbossradio.com, www.retirementbossradio.com, you can go in and hear the recordings. We keep those updated there. Okay. And then lastly, you're coaching for me. And if you don't know Social Security, I'm going to coach you up in 3 sessions so you understand Social Security. Social Security is kind of a key part to this. And it's probably 25-30% of all the business I do or calls that come in are Social Security related. We coach you up at no charge. IAMS pays me. They stipend me. There's no charge. And I'm not in your hierarchy. IAMS, again, gives me a little monthly stipend. And our goal is to have you be as efficient and as successful from a production standpoint as you can. But I critique the first 3 or 4 shows. We go and coach Social Security. I go through things to say, not to say, but you got someone there that's got more than 30 years of radio. On his own show, got 15 years of having his own show. The first one was Money Matters, Your Money Matters, and that was for about 12 years, and this show here has been going on for over 3 years. Yeah, it's a track. It's an absolute track, and it's proven. If you have any questions, type them on in. It's a turnkey system, which is really, really nice, okay? Here's giving you an idea of one of the sheets that come in. It comes in from the call center, turning, this one was back actually in 19, turning 59 soon, hasn't settled on someone yet, has a 401k that is 7-figured, had questions about Social Security. Yeah. So I tell you what, lots of money when it comes to radio. Now, I will say this. Most people think that it's just too darn expensive. Radio normally costs all in for the full thing somewhere between $3,000 or $4,000 a month. So I'll tell you right now, the more you do, the better you get. There's that www.retirementbossradio.com. You can go in. There's a white paper there. It tells about what we do. There's the podcast of our actual shows themselves. There are locations, of course, available. I coach you. I train you. You have your own studio at home. Costs you about $225. It's your equipment. It's complicated how it all works together, but in the end result, it's pretty darn seamless. Al Jolson was an actor actually in the silent movies when he started, and it said, I'd like to do radio just like pictures, leave the imperfect stuff on the cutting room floor. The great stuff at radio is you can. It's recorded. If you have a blunder, make a mistake, you do it over again. There's an old saying, it says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Tomorrow never comes, does it? It never comes. If you heard something today that you thought was worthwhile, you need to mark yes. That's if you want more information on radio. How could that help your practice? Is it something that could fit my budget, fit my personality, fit the locale that I'm in? Mark yes. We'll talk. 15, 20 minutes. We'll get up. Brady will call you. Brady Pelzer. He'll call you. Get him on my calendar, on your calendar, and we'll just see if this is something that could bring you in more, not just leads, but hot prospects, people who want to talk to you, or they wouldn't have called into the radio show. Steve, I'll hand this over to you as we kind of answer the last questions and kind of sum it on up here.
Thanks, Dave. Good stuff as always. So Peter has not done radio himself. Do you, in his question, I know a little bit of the answer, but I think it'd be better from you. Would you actually do the radio program for someone, Dave?
Nope. What we do is we go on in and we want you to do it. That's very, very important. Excuse me, my headphone fell off. My head's too skinny. We want you to do it, but we coach you through that. We coach you. We show you how to do good. We mentor you. We train you. So you would be the one doing it. And I'll tell you what, it's not a live. It's recorded. So if there is a mistake, it can be recorded over. I recorded earlier this week. Mine are 2 weeks out. Most people are 1 week out when they air. Yeah, what happens was I said, hey, I didn't like how that sounded. Let's do it over again. Well, that takes the pressure off of you. It's not live. And Steve, I don't know if you're old enough. Can you remember the live commercials like Timex keeps on ticking? Can you remember any of those or not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those were live commercials. So, one time it wasn't ticking. They said it was, but you'd look at the dial wasn't going around. Yeah, so we can redo it because this is recorded. No, you can do it, and I tell you what, are there some people that can't do radio? Yeah, there are. And then it wouldn't be a fit for you. But I'll tell you right now, anyone who's ever done a seminar could be very, very good at radio also.
A couple questions about content. I know you talked about the show notes that you put together. Talk a little bit about how the show notes that you provide to the guys and gals that do radio, how in depth are those, and how much time does it take then from their schedule to kind of go over that before the radio show?
Well, I'm a big believer if you plan, the outcome is normally much better. And so some people will get show notes and they're not doing very well on the show, and I'll say, how much time do you go to prepare for the radio, when you're recording? Well, we glance through it, and then we do the radio show. Well, you know what? I mean, if you're an actor, you got to go through your notes over and over and over and memorize. You don't have to memorize here, but I spend somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour practicing and preparing for my show notes. And I encourage people to do the same thing. I actually go through the show notes and I put them in bullet point form so they're easier to understand. But it takes, you're going to record. It takes about 35, 40 minutes to record. There's 4 segments in an hour. You're recording two of the segments. It'll take you 35, 40 minutes to record and about 45 minutes to rehearse. So you probably have a good hour and 15 minutes in each week of actually recording and then practicing the show notes to be good at your trade.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned kind of the breakdown of the time frame. So you basically break it into 4 segments because you have breaks, and then talk about how you record those shows, and then what is it, like 4 or 5 weeks in, then you start repeating some segments of those?
Yeah, we actually start out in the very beginning, and we will do 3 shows over a week. So because we got to get then we have our 4th show, and then we repeat the second half of every hour with a show that was done 4 weeks ago. So 4 weeks ago was the first part. Now 4 weeks later, it's the 3rd and 4th segments, which is the second 30 minutes. That way we saved $1,000 on production time by doing that, and very few people listen for the full hour. So it's just a way of going in and saving money and being almost as effective. And it doesn't take as much time to record either.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And talk about that for a minute, Dave. So, in the course of your radio show, when you're going to say, "Hey," when you actually gain the appointments, give the folks a feel for how that sounds. How you kind of introduce the call in.
You mean what the call center says?
Well, no, what you say when it comes to, okay, we're going to break, and now is your chance to call in because.
Oh yeah, our offer is strong, and that's what a lot of people. When I had that show before, Your Money Matters. I mean, I did get some calls, and we had call-ins, and we had things, but I did get some business. I got very well known. This show is to get business. It's to get appointments. I mean, that is absolutely extremely important. So, I mean, here's what we do. I mean, like this is offer. I got 3 different offers. I don't read anything, but I do read the offer, and I sound like I ad lib it, so they don't know it. But here's what it is. I'll do it just like I do it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says, so if you call during the show and you're one of the next 5 callers, what we're going to do is offer you, it's a complimentary financial review of your entire financial and retirement plan. Now, there's no cost for the visit. It's simply a chance for you to get educated about your money so you can make the best financial decisions for yourself moving forward. And then I go through the 3 things, and then I see, so what we're going to do is we're going to sit down with you. We're going to help you understand these 3 important but many times misunderstood issues. So if you're one of the next 5 yeah. And so, you know what? I thought that was kind of hokey, the next 5 callers. I'll tell you. People will call and say, am I one of the 5 callers to get the free review? So we have everything's turnkey. And can you change a little of that and reshape it yourself? Yeah. If you use 75-80% of what we're doing, but like last week, what I recorded for this week, my key points that I touched on were is what Social Security benefit can I expect? And that is the one thing that if you do need to learn Social Security, and if you don't and you're working that pre-retired or just retired, that's really it's a great thing for you because you're also learning Social Security from me at no cost to you because, Steve, you guys pay me to coach them up. And then the second bullet point was how much annual income will I be able to take from my savings? I normally do a quote. This quote was from Warren Buffett. It says, if you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And then I talk about Social Security. Is that fact? Or you could say here, or some type of guaranteed pension or guaranteed annuity income, it's working while you sleep. That is so important that it keeps working. And then, I talk about what will I do about health care? Because health care is on a lot of people's mind. Even if you don't do Medicare or senior health, you can talk about that. And then the next segment was I talked about tax-free legacy from a Roth. I mean, here I have, my intro was Roth IRAs can be a great tool for investors to leave wealth to their heirs, et cetera, et cetera. A tax-free legacy, pitfalls to avoid, failing to name a beneficiary, choosing the wrong beneficiary, neglecting to take RMDs. See, neglecting from the new Secure Act, you have to take them within 10 years. I mean, so those are things we talk about. They're broad subjects. They're not specific investment or financial strategy like fixed index annuity. I just don't ever say the word annuity, fixed index. I might say annuity, but I don't say fixed indexed. I might say annuity stream, but I want to make sure they're understanding that I'm educating and not selling.
Mm-hmm. Dave, we happen to have with us on board today one of our producers that has in his background, I think probably 30 plus years of radio. And my guess is, he's done a lot of radio himself and very successful like yourself. And probably most of his opportunities to meet new clients probably do come from radio. Talk about the importance of kind of using radio from a brand building standpoint, how that's affected you in this area.
Well, we have a funny story. When he came out golfing that Sunday, we're on number 11 tee, and someone comes over and says, "Hey, I just heard you on radio that day." I mean, we teed off in the early afternoon, and my show's at 12. Yeah, no, it it gives you kind of a celebrity status. It's not well deserved, but I'll take it. I mean, people like working their business with the celebrity, and so it all those ads, those 10, 15 ads that we all get, anyone who does a program each week, it's all Retirement Boss Radio with Dave Pimper, Calton and Associates. I mean, it brands you. No, it's been very, very strong. I mean, people listen to me. I mean, I'm just gonna say this again. This happened to be at church a couple of years ago when we had two services, and our second service was at 11, and we had a little meeting afterwards. And so I'm walking out with Amy going back to our house. It's only about a block away. And one of the old elder, he's about in his 70s, he says, "Hey, come here." And I went on over there. He goes, "Hey, who is this?" He's listening to my station as I'm walking by. So what happens is it gives you, then they know it's recorded, but most people think it's live. So no, it has done a really good job of branding my company, no doubt.
Yeah, I really think that probably likely makes you more referable. People like to, they're more likely to refer somebody. So, you can hear Dave. Yeah, he's on the radio on Saturday. I mean, that makes an impression, makes it more easy to refer someone. And obviously, it's helped your business. I know over the last 2 or 3 years, we've really seen some nice growth in your appointment levels. Not that they weren't good before, but you've seen good growth there. So, really, really good stuff. One question is everything is branded Retirement Boss Radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's
correct.
Yeah, that's correct. So,
yep.
There may be more questions that you all have, and it looks like, almost everybody wants to speak with you, Dave, which is great. If there's a question that we haven't answered, I'm going to do a quick check and make sure I haven't missed any more here. I have not, but if there's other questions that you have and you want to talk with Dave one-on-one, just hit yes on that poll that you see there. Most of you have already done that, and so you'll have a conversation with Dave. It gives you an opportunity to kind of pick Dave's brain a little bit, whether it's about radio, Social Security seminars. That Social Security seminar business is really heating up right now, and that's always been, or not always, but certainly for the last 8 or 10 years, been one of the primary drivers of a lot of our producers in getting in front of people. And so if you have questions on that, you can certainly check yes on that poll, and Dave will be glad to speak with you about that as well. I think that's
absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on, Dave, that we usually do that we need to make sure that we add on, or you feel like we got everything covered?
I will say this, and I mentioned this a couple times during the show, the webinar, but the reason that most people shy away from radio, they think it's going to be so costly. So costly. We've had an all-in cost before at $2,500 a month. The normal cost is somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. Mine's a little higher because I'm on a couple multiple stations also, and smaller stations. But $3,000 to $4,000 a month. So you got to bring in. If you go in and bring a $50,000 fixed indexed annuity, it covers the cost of radio for that month, and you're on for either 4 or 5 hours on a major station. Think about that. So cost, it really, if you're successful and you're looking for a great way to market, now not as many people are doing seminars now just because it's coming post-pandemic, but lots of people do seminars, and I'm a big seminar junkie also. But I'll tell you, there aren't a bunch of radio junkies. And you go, just anyone on the line today, go and look up on Saturday and Sunday at your top AM radio station, whatever that talk show station is. Look it up. Go look at their line item on who the shows are for their schedule on Saturday and Sunday. Go and see. There'll always be 3 or 4 financial advisors or insurance agents that have a show, a half an hour or an hour show. I will bet you anything when you do your investigation, you'll find that each one of those are highly successful, just the way that it works. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? I'll tell you right now, radio, most successful people who do radio don't stop. Okay? So I'd love to talk to you. If you mark yes, and I guess most of you did, that's wonderful. We'll talk for 15, 20 minutes and see if there's any kind of fit or synergy there to let radio really work for you to get you a bunch more production.
Thanks, Dave. It's a good show today. I appreciate that. One thing that I would add, I think some people probably do shy away because of the expense, which if you put the numbers to it, it's about the cost of doing a seminar, one seminar per month. So I'm not sure if the group aboard here, I mean, I think they know that if they're going to be on radio, they're probably going to be spending somewhere in that $3,000 to $5,000 a month range, or maybe they expected more. I think some people get a little worried that maybe they won't sound good on radio, or that I'll never sound as good as Dave sounds. So go to that Retirement Boss Radio, listen to how Dave sounds, and remember that there's a lot of production that goes into that behind the scenes. You pay, I mean, that's part of the 3,000 or 5,000 you spend, and you've got a good sidekick. Steve does a great job, and he can really walk you through kind of on the radio, you're kind of getting walked through by your sidekick some of the things that you need to touch on, which is helpful, and you're going to come out sounding good. And all
Hey,
of a sudden,
Steve,
yes,
can
sir.
I say one quick thing?
Of course.
I want every listener today to remember one word the entire day. Recorded. Recorded. You can do it over.
Yeah.
You make a mistake, you say, darn it, let's do it over. Let's do the whole thing over. Yeah. It's very flexible. Recorded.
Yep.
Different than live. Live, you make a mistake, you get egg on your face. Recorded, you make a mistake, you just say do it over, and you have a perfectly cooked egg sandwich. I tell you what, recorded is a huge thing in our business.
Makes a big difference, yeah. But we'd love to see people be successful, and I think radio is a good way to do that. Don't shy away from it if you think you might not sound just right, or you don't sound as good as you think you sound. Most of us are surprised. Most of us are built for radio. We got the looks for radio, right?
I do.
So take advantage of it. And most of you I know are going to have a conversation with Dave. We'll probably beat a dead horse here. So we're going to let you go. But thank you for joining us today. As you're trying to grow your business in times like these, where the more people that know what you do and how you do it, the more business you're going to do right now. I mean, the safety security guarantees are very, very popular with baby boomers. There's more than ever. And right now, people are really, there's people kind of a little bit of flight to safety going on. So, it's a good way to get your share of that business, and we'd love to help you. 800-255-5055 is our number. You're going to get a call from Brady very shortly. That will start, if you're looking at your caller ID, that will start with an area code of 402. Give him a chance to chat with you, set up a time with Dave, and let's get you on the road to more notoriety in your area and more appointments every week in your business. Have a great day and have a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.